right. I'm inviting Barbara. Ooh, look, it worked.
It
Amazing.
worked. Nothing like a little preparation, right?
It's pretty great when things work the way you think they're going to work. All right, I'm turning my volume up so I can hear you. You can hear me fine? Yeah?
I can hear you just fine.
You look gorgeous.
Ah, thank you, thank you. It's Monday. It's my favorite day of the week.
Tell me
I
why.
know.
I know this is unusual. Did you see I polled? I said, how's everybody feeling for the week to start? And I got 100%. I would like more weekend. So I think it's
Of
unusual
course.
that you're super ready for Monday.
But the secret is a 4-day week.
Tell
You
me
see, I
more.
do the business side of business on Friday, and if I don't have very much admin to do, like invoicing and bids, whatever, I take off. And so I get all my personal stuff done on Friday, and then I have a full Saturday and a full Sunday.
Will you teach
Yeah.
me how to do this? I know.
TGIM, baby.
We've talked about it. I mean, I like try to block out these things and then really like it all leaks out. And part of
It does
what I
sometimes.
say is like, oh, I really love my work. And so like it can happen whenever. And so when it's not happening, I'll like, it kind of leaks around and it's okay. But also sometimes I'm like, when am I, pushing like on the work things that are take those extra muscles?
Yeah, and
And
I think you would say to me, just feel at choice about it. If it's leaking in into my Friday, I say yes or no. It's all good. You would say that to me. I know you would.
you're so good to me. That's why I love doing this with you, Barbara, because we're on the same vibe and we're different, right? Like you have said,
Yeah,
like you're trying to give yourself more looseness with yourself, with your schedule,
yeah.
and I need a little more tightness. So yeah,
So true. That's so true.
but same vibe, like same vision for our businesses. Anyway, thank you. What a great introduction to Barbara and how much I love Barbara. So, welcome everyone that's joined us. We have a couple people. Love it. Um, thank you, thank you, thank you. So let's just jump right in. What I wanted to start with is a few like get to know Barbara questions and then into the challenge I asked you to bring, and then if there's time, Q&A from others, or just more Q&A. Maybe I'll Q&A you and that kind of convo. So I'm thinking that's the arc we'll go through, and let's start. You feel ready?
I'm ready.
Great. So the first thing I love to ask people is what led you to start your business?
Well, I had been painting sets and props for Disney down in Los Angeles, and so I was coming to the table with a lot of traditional skills like painting and I would do vacuum formed plastic. It was just like a wide variety of stuff which I really loved. And then my first real job as a designer was with a sign company, but this was before computers because I'm old. Um,
Don't say
I
old.
so
You're
so I worked.
experienced.
Yeah, I'm experienced and seasoned.
Yeah.
I worked at this sign company for about 6 years, and I realized when I was there that I would design signs for businesses that were starting, but they didn't have a logo. And so they would end up using what I came up with for their sign on their business cards. And I thought, somebody's doing this backwards and somebody's getting
Mm-hmm.
cut out of that process.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I started my business, I came to it with a lot of experience in the sign world, in working with retail and restaurants and the like. But I wanted to come to it from the beginning because I knew it was important to set a strong graphic identity and branding with your business so that everything looked consistent. So you look like you had your act together.
And
You look professional and established that way.
and then when you make a sign for them, it's something you can be proud of, right?
Well, yeah,
Because
you're
you're
spending a
bringing
lot
their
of,
logo in, and you're like,
yeah,
right? It doesn't feel good.
spending money on signage. You may as well, it should be effective and it should look beautiful.
Yeah.
That goes for anything that you're spending money on in your business, website, everything.
And I'm just hearing in that too why you are, as I said, multi-hyphenate, where you kind
Yeah.
of kept going upstream, I think. So you've helped people with marketing and branding because
Yeah,
logo
that's
comes
a
from
nice
that.
way to look at it. And I think that really came from client needs. I built trust. I mean, I've had some clients for almost the entire 27 years I've been in business, and
Amazing.
I built a lot of trust, and they trusted me to handle things because I see design as a way to solve problems, through visual communication. Maybe somebody's not selling as many margaritas as they would like. Well, I can help solve that through signage, social media, email campaigns, menu design, coasters on the bar. There's any number. So I had to learn how to design all those different pieces.
Yeah. And this is where I refer to you as Barbara's the woman who can make anything for you. Because I think you have, right? Like there's almost nothing that you're like, oh, I can custom do those for you, which I think
Oh,
is,
certainly. My weirdest project was with Benton's Creamery. They had a cow costume that was scaring the children. So we did an ultimate makeover of Myrtle the cow.
oh my
I had to
gosh.
rebuild the snout, put new fabric on it, and made her a nice, feminine apron, and sawed her teeth off and painted her mouth a different color. It was a crazy project, but I was the perfect person for it because of the set and prop background.
Yes, that's amazing. So this is where I've often thought your business name, Sign Me Up, right? It's like it doesn't tell the whole story of everything you can do for
Agreed.
people. That you're just
Agreed.
so much more. So I
And we will talk about
I
that
just
because I
dream. I
do
just dream of what
recognize,
if people really knew what Barbara could do for them.
yes.
Yeah.
And I recognize that at this stage that I would like you to help me essentially just look at those things and how to position myself in that way, because those, when I look at my favorite clients and my favorite projects, those are the ones where I'm just part of their team, their ongoing overall marketing team, and I can hold a trajectory for them.
Right.
A lot of things.
Totally. Well, and then I'm aware of the last time we talked too, I was also feeling like, oh, you offer so many things. Like, are they all really on brand for you? So I think it'll be
Mhm.
a like
For
a both
sure.
and conversation, right? Like opening up this direction and maybe closing off some things in this
Absolutely.
direction and just making sure everything is like part of the engine of where you want to go. Yeah.
Absolutely. I look forward to that.
Yes. Oh, I'm excited for that. So the other thing I wanted to ask is, what is your greatest joy in your business? That's the thing that I love to hear from entrepreneurs, because this is what it's really
Well,
about.
I mean, my greatest joy, uh, well, I have two greatest joy. Like, one is personal for me. When I have a vision of something and it comes together the way I imagined it,
Yeah.
but also when it dazzles the client and is really effective. I go back to that margarita example. I made one sign and that client's margarita sales went up 33% in 1 week. Like,
Amazing.
to be really effective and to actually measure the effectiveness of what I do,
Yeah.
to understand that I'm having a positive impact.
Yeah.
But also the part that I can't get away from is beauty and excellence, really putting forth what I think is my best work,
Mm-hmm.
like, just if the client might love it as it is, but if I don't love it, I like when projects come together and I love them, and most of them do, for
Yeah.
sure. Sometimes timelines and other constraints make it challenging, but
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it just makes me think like you sell more margaritas for them, and then the thing behind the thing is your client is happy, right? And then it sort of builds on itself because then they realize their own power, right? Like, oh, I'm not just waiting for people to buy margaritas. I can do things to actualize this thing that I want to happen, which, the business coach in
absolutely.
me is like, that's all I want, right? Is everybody to realize their power to say, if I want a thing, I can make a thing happen. And not like you're in control of the world, but like I can take action basically
Yeah.
to put out my desire into the world.
And you are so good at the thing behind the thing. And I want to say the thing behind the thing behind the thing
Yes.
is that, we've used that same technique, and this is for Picante in Berkeley. There was a gentleman who carved wooden animals and other things, other magical things, masks. He's a legendary mask carver.
Mm.
And just through the simple posters and things that we would put up, this man made enough money visiting Picante 2 times a year to support his whole family. And when my daughters went down and visited him, the thing behind the thing behind the thing is that we got out of the car and they were throwing confetti on us. Like it was so special to them. And so
Yeah.
that human connection
Right.
through my work is something I'll never forget. So I would say that is probably one of the brightest spots above any awards or anything else, that I made somebody else's life better, many people's lives better, just through.
Amazing. I feel so moved.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that until you said the thing behind the
Big.
thing, and that I got to cry because
Yes.
Isidoro passed away last time he was here, and he passed away in the United States, and you know, it was just a really sweet period in my career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is what I think we get to do as entrepreneurs, right? Like
Yeah.
there are many ways that we are all in the world as ourselves, like embodied on earth, right? Like, and our work is just one place, but it's this place that impacts so deeply. This, like, we're in a world where money matters, right? Our prosperity, our wealth matters for ease of life. And you're adding to others' wealth or prosperity, like, changes lives. And that's, I think, where you and I are both in that same business, right?
Yeah, and I thank you for helping me get connected to that at this moment. I hadn't thought about him. He died a number of years ago, and
yeah.
I think I'll be reaching out to his sons today because,
What's their name again?
Isidoro Cruz
Isidoro.
is the gentleman's name. If you Google him, you'll definitely find his work.
Yeah.
Legendary wood carver, and his family, his daughter Nayali and her husband, I think, are still carving in Oaxaca, but the tours to Oaxaca have fallen off the cliff. It was really popular in the 90s and early 2000s, and then they thought that people just couldn't find them anymore, and so everybody moved their shops to the main road, and people weren't coming. So if you can support
we're sending energy to his family in Oaxaca.
They have amazing work. Yeah.
Can I just tell you, because I'm in the magic right now, I'm like, just yesterday I was like scrolling through my friend's photographs of her trip to Oaxaca a couple years ago, and I was like, maybe I should go to Oaxaca.
There you go. You definitely should.
This is
beautiful. Hi, Charlie Cotton. Charlie Cotton worked at Picante back then. He knows Isidoro.
amazing. Hi, Charlie Cotton. I love that. And this is where our stories all connect. And maybe Charlie Cotton can just have a little moment for the Cruz family also, right? A little prayer. Well, so thank you for sharing. And this is the Mindset Monday thing, where I just go like, okay, we're doing this thing, but the thing under the thing is the engine that keeps us going, right? That makes it make sense. I just came from a session with one of my coaches that was like, okay, how do I not get so like into the action oriented thing that I forget that it's not about this like imagined result that I'm attached to, but it really is about offering what I want to offer and coming from the joy. And so this keeps us, right? This kind of thing connects us to like, it's not about doing it right or like doing the thing that will almost like being attached to the result and what that result means. It's really still back to what May wants to do, what May wants to offer, and just trusting that is enough.
Yeah.
Whew. Still getting used to that, or like still trying to sit into that. So I asked you to bring some challenge today that we could speak to.
Yeah.
Do you want to bring that now?
Yeah, I think so. So, I've been in business a long time, and it just goes to show you, no matter how many times you've been around the block, it's good to get a reset. And you just nail it. Every time I bring something up, you're just like, what about blah, blah, blah? Or how about thinking about it like this? How to qualify a prospect sometimes is still a challenge for me. You know, I love meeting new people. So I don't mind if somebody calls and says, I'm thinking about starting this business. What would be involved in getting a logo or whatever? And I don't mind that because I love sharing my knowledge. I love positioning myself for the expert. So if and when they're ready, they can come back to me and check it out for real. Sometimes you get the people that you can tell are just brain pickers and tire kickers. You know, they're just asking a lot of questions and they aren't really going to do something. But where I get tripped up and where I seem to, I feel like give away maybe too much of my time or more of my time than I'm comfortable with, are people who come to me, maybe they're well referred by a friend of mine, a close friend of mine, or they're a colleague, but they've asked for complicated bid after bid after bid and never really moving forward with their project. So how to qualify a prospect in terms of where they are and how serious they are in a project before I get overly involved and before it starts becoming a consultation.
Right. Yeah, this is such a good question. I'm just really feeling this too because there's like a generosity
Yes, I'm very generous.
On one hand, and that's beautiful, right? That's all from this like mission motivation, which is what I love. And then there's a point where you feel like it crosses the line. So I think one thing I would ask is, do you have a sense of when you know it's in this category versus this category?
I'm sure I do.
So, because I think part of it is you deciding, right, which category they're in, and then just like kind of going with it, right? Like in the generous place, maybe you just decide, I am willing to give here.
Yes.
And you do that until it feels like I'm all done with that. Right? And it's super fair. Let's start with the thing behind that is that your expertise is of value. And so
yes.
you are the guardian of that, right? You get to give freely and you get to decide when it's time to give with exchange. So already you know that, and I'm glad that you know that, but like I'm wondering, I have a sense that you know when it either switches midstream or when it is maybe they come to you and you can already sense who they are.
Yeah, and I guess for me it's it's a tricky boundary. You know, if I've been generous to start and then all of a sudden I want to cut off, like where do I come from or how do I hold it in myself to draw that boundary in a way? Because these are relationships that I want to preserve.
Right, right.
But I don't necessarily want to keep giving them more. Like I'm thinking of one client right now who asked me for two very complicated bids on businesses he never started.
Yeah.
You know, he started a lot of businesses in his life, but these two he never went through with, and they were complicated. They were very prototypical.
Right. Well, I think the complicated bid, I mean, that's when I think your clock is worthy of putting on the clock, right? Starting to tick of you're asking me for design consultation instead of like general knowledge that I'm offering you for how to decide, right? So part of I think what you said is maybe what you're looking for is, do you feel ready to take some action with me?
Yes.
Right. So that's maybe the dividing line is maybe the generosity is getting them to deciding to take some action with you, and you're willing.
That is a great phrase that I want to write down right now. Are you ready to take some action?
Yeah, and you're willing to help them figure it out, but still toward this getting to this space, getting to this line. taking
Got
some
it.
action. So then the action, I think, is when you're like, can you make some designs for me? That's like the paid zone,
Yeah.
right? The consultation zone. But getting clear that the free part is helping them decide.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I think maybe more, that's more clear, right? When at least when it's like, oh, you're using my expert brain here, right, to make the thing, then oh, let me know. Let me inform you of what that costs. And then we're still in the I'm letting you figure out how to decide. And
Yeah.
so another part is what's the limit of this side that feels comfortable, where you feel, I mean, because I can imagine you can bound it by time, you can bound it by like how many calls, how many minutes, how many calls, something like that. And you
And
can,
would you suggest defining that?
um, I mean,
Because they each feel a little different, you know what I mean?
yeah, I think what could be great is you just decide a starting place and then you decide, oh, I think I'm willing to keep going with them. You can make an exception, right? But yeah, I think even just for your own ease of deciding all the time, right? Decision fatigue, you can just
Yeah.
say, like, I'm willing to give one generous 1 hour meeting to give you everything I know. What's that?
Yeah, I said half hour.
Half hour, whatever feels like this really is as much as you need to know
Yeah.
to get to that deciding point.
That's probably the most somebody would,
Yeah.
in initial conversation.
So it's hard because I think I heard you say there's two things in this zone.
Mhm.
Should I start this business, which is really their own stuff,
Yeah.
their own work, but you're helping them paint a picture of what it will take for them to get there, right? So that's not up to you, right? You're offering what you can offer, and then it's go do your work, right? Go do your inside personal work. But the other thing is more tangible is here's what I can do with you because that's what, right? That's what it takes to get to that line. Like, are you ready to go forward with me? Is have I demonstrated what I have to offer you?
Yeah.
That's what needs to happen maybe in that generous, freely giving generously zone.
That sounds great. You're so good at this.
Does that, and then right? If that's what I'm looking for and that's all my obligation is in a way, then you're free to say like, we've come to the end of the free zone, right? Like, and you don't feel bad about it. You know that like they have what they need and you're not in, like you putting any more into it is not really helping them get to that place.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Yeah.
Thank you. This all falls in line with some words that I put on my vision board this year. So that will help me remember.
Yeah.
You're so good at just um, taking what I say and parsing it out into the different components and giving it back to me in a way that just makes sense and just makes me relax into it. So thank you.
I think so much of what I love to do is say, like, it's super fair for you to say yes and also fair for you to say no. Right? Like it is up to you. And as long as it's like free, right? Like you're freely deciding. And again, like I like the limits because most of the people I work with um, err on the side of like, I want to give because like that's what heart-centered entrepreneurs do, right? Like when you're motivated by love and mission, and yet so my job is usually to be like, great, preserve your energy also, right?
Absolutely. And I'm a big believer in boundaries helping us be more generous and more loving,
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
because we're not worried about getting sucked into more than we want. And so I think boundaries around that are really great.
Yep. Yes. Yeah. And I think, you know, there's old talk about like if I say no here, I'm going to lose something. And really, it's your clarity, right? Your clarity helps model leadership, right? Like model, and that's kind of what we talked about, that thing of like you deciding, your client, whatever, deciding their direction is really about leadership, like taking a radical responsibility for their own lives, right? And you can, all you can do is model it for yourself, and that's what I'm saying to myself too, is I can't, um like my job is not to tell you what your choices are, right? Like what's the vision. My job is to like empower it, like build the engine to make it happen, but they've really got to do their own work. So
Yeah.
lovely.
Great. Thank you.
We've got a couple new joiners. I love it. Um, I wonder if, ooh, yeah. I wonder if there's any question and answer. A couple friends. My dear daughter jumped in and jumped out. I don't know who's on right now, but I love that we got people jumping in.
I
What else? Yeah, I think I was thinking that we would go till 12:30. We have a couple minutes. If anybody has any questions, put it in the chat, or you and I can just chat it out. How's your day looking today?
It's good. I'm on an intense project for Kimberly Harrison right now, which is good. It's just
Beautiful.
assigned design consultation, you know,
Yeah.
for her space. I've got a lot of clients that are up leveling. I've got another client, it's a real estate company that's getting a new space as well. So my year's looking
Interesting.
good. And then
Interesting.
constantly remodeling, so they're going to be redoing everything. I do everything for them. So
Yes.
I love that because my restaurant clients, you know, I had a lot of restaurant clients going into the pandemic, and they've been on limited budgets since the pandemic. So
Right.
good that it's getting back into the regular swing of things.
So this makes sense that home, right? Interiors, people are
Yeah,
investing in their homes.
yeah, that's true.
Who's
Real estate,
busy right now,
so,
right? Is real estate, contractors, designers, architects. Yeah,
so true.
that's beautiful. The other space that I noticed is therapists. I've had
Oh,
a number of clients in therapists, and not just personal therapy, but like speech therapy, like helping with parents needing help with kids. So kind of in the homeschooling, but also with special needs or neurodiversity issues, that
yeah,
people are
definitely.
even more like, I need help, which I think is great because of course there's a million people who want to offer help, and people just need to get to the place where they realize they need help.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I did a bit of work for a friend who worked for Stanford for many, many years and started her own therapy practice this year.
Yeah.
She was one of my first post-lockdown clients. I was so grateful because I thought, oh, my restaurants are all closing down. What am I going to do? And anyway, she decided to pivot at that time. So it's been a year of helping people, a couple of years of helping people pivot. And
Pivot. Yes.
it's really good.
Yeah. And that's what I'm hoping for too. Some of my people would be people ready to pivot. Also, like the great resignation, right?
Yes,
It's gotten people like, what am I doing here? I really,
for sure. When I started my business at 29, I remember being one of the youngest people in the room. You know, I was part of the Women's Economic Network, which is a group started by one of the first business coaches, if not the first, in San Francisco, CJ Haden. And there were a lot of women who had just worked at jobs they weren't particularly connected to, starting their own businesses. And I thought, how cool is that?
and you
Because at the
jumped
time,
in.
my age, they seemed really old. But now, as you know, we are young
We have
compared
lots of
to
life left. Yeah. Yeah. I like to say, not dead yet.
not even close.
Not even close. But, the old stories of it's too late is, life is on every day.
Yeah, I heard, I was listening to a BNI podcast yesterday, and they were talking about like in your 50s is really when you're at the top of your game. And it was Ivan Meisner. He was talking about like in his 20s, he's considering what he wants to do. In his 30s, he's starting to do it. In his 40s, he's growing it. In his 50s, he's really the master. And so just giving that long view of being in business was really cool to hear.
Right.
Because I feel like I'm reinventing myself still after this many years.
Oh, I'm in a deep place of reinventing. And this is where like my coach just was like, a little on the give yourself a break, May. You are becoming a new May. And I feel a little like, I think I've become a new May like kind of a bunch of times. But yeah, like it feels like another big growth sort of jump. And I'm grateful. And also, right, it takes time to like sink into it and get to know it in a way. And then move out of that, right? Like act out from that place. Not act out of that space. That's the new me. So
yeah, well, I'm so glad to be on this journey with
you. Yes, me too. Well, thank you. What a great conversation. That was just really fun.
And you're welcome. This is fun anytime.
I hope others will get some inspiration from it, and just knowing that all of our stories are like beautiful, and there's just constant questions and like up leveling and the next thing. And that's, I think, exciting also. The growth.
It is exciting.
Here, I just thought of this last question. What is one thing that we can all sort of say a prayer for you for? Like what's a thing that like you have a vision for that we can all support you in?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Sorry, sprung that on you, but I just thought like what I would love to leave you with a like almost like a we're gonna all put our minds to this and put energy to what you want. If you can't think of one, it's okay.
How about energy on getting me clarity on how to, I don't want to say redefine myself, but like you said, how to bring out the magic partner that I am to businesses. I don't think is being currently conveyed. I've got all these services, but in the big picture, I want to be that person that's part of a team,
I just wrote magic partner because those are golden words. Yeah. All right.
I want some clarity on that to move forward. Right. Katie Mack. Hello, Katie.
Hello, Katie. Oh, Katie needs to hear your gold.
I know. You'll have to rewatch it. We're finishing up.
Yeah.
But it's so good to pop on.
Yes. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. So next Monday, we'll have another conversation. Beautiful. Well, she's sending hearts.
Oh, of course she is.
Thank you. Katie, I've heard so much about you. I can't wait to connect with you in some way because Barbara speaks so highly of you. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank
Have
you,
a great
Barbara.
rest of the week.
See you. Bye-bye.
Happy Monday. Bye-bye.